So Jai Srimanarayana. So we just touched in the last session the seventh sloka of the second chapter. This is where Arjuna's emotions are coming to kind of a stable state. He was lamenting throughout the chapter 1 and then partly at the beginning of the chapter 2. So he's coming to a state where he is seeking the help of Sri Krishna Paramatma. So the sloka will chant first and then Karpanya doshopahata svabhavaha uchchami tvam dharma sammudhachetaha yachreyasyan nischitam bruhitan me Sishyasteham shadhimam tvam prapannam. So this is a very, very important sloka. And actually the entire reason this Bhagavad Gita was born, there are a couple of words in this sloka that are the root cause of the entire Bhagavad Gita. And you can see them highlighted right there, right? So we'll understand why that is, right? So we'll do a slice and dice, as we say, right, to understand why Bhagavad Gita was born from this sloka. Right? So this is the sloka where Arjuna is presenting himself as a disciple. He's saying Sishyasteham, Sishyaha te aham. So meaning I am your Sishya, right? So and Shadhi, order me, give me an instruction. Mam tvam prapanna. Who am I? I am your prapanna. Right?
Disciple.
Disciple. So Sishya is disciple. Prapanna, we will understand exact meaning of prapanna. So later it will come to a conclusion there. So in this sloka, until this point, he was like trying to get justification from Sri Krishna Paramatma on whatever his thoughts are. And then finally he comes down to in the point where he's seeking guidance. So why is he seeking guidance? So he, in the previous slokas, where he was saying, like in the sloka, the words he used, like Guruna hatvahi mahanubhavan shreyo bhoktum bhaikshamapi haloke. So when he's saying, where this is a very important, crucial word, he's asking, isn't it a better option? Like this, it's like in Telugu, they say kada, avanu kada, meaning, so he would be saying, like, he wants to say in a way that Krishna Paramatma is also on his side, right? So when he was saying that, it is almost like I am getting out of here, right? With or without your permission. But when it came down to sloka 7, again he made a 180, right? Complete opposite direction. He said, I am your Sishya. So, and tell me, meaning Nischitam Bruhitanme. Yet Shreyasyan Nischitam Bruhitanme. Shreyas. Shreyas, we all know the basic meaning. There is a deeper meaning, of course. That's why it is highlighted here. Yat Shreyasyan Nischitam Bruhitanme. We all know the meaning of the word Shreyas is like whatever is in my benefit, or whatever is good for me, right? This is the Nishreyas Kosam means it's for your own benefit, right? So saying Yat Shreyasya Nishchitam Bruhisanme. So whatever is in my best interest, Nishchitam. Nishchitam meaning decided by somebody, right? So whatever was decided, that it would be in my favor. Meaning he is saying, don't reinvent the whole cycle. Don't go through make a new science or subject for me. Tell me whatever was already decided as something good for me in this kind of situation. So he's asking Krishna Paramatma not to go and come up with his own theory. He's saying, tell me what the elders have already decided would be good for me. Right? That makes sense, right? So it has been nishchitam, it has been decided previously by what, by whom, or by what, right? By elders previously, maybe, or by scriptures. Scriptures are there to tell us or give us the direction, right? So whatever the scriptures are saying are decided that this would be good for me. So tell that to me, right? Um, so pruchhami tvam dharma sammuda chetaha. Why do you need to guide me? Because dharma sammuda chetaha. So my mind, chetas means mind. So dharma sammuda cheta, my mind is kind of blank. It's with because of the confusion in my mind. Right? Dharma sammoda, meaning in the aspects of dharma, my mind is kind of blank and I'm confused. So so I request you, pruchhami tvam, I request you to do what? To tell me what is in my best interest based on what has been already decided, because I am your Sishya, and so instruct me. So Shadhimam Tvam Prapannam. Who am I? I am your Prapanna. So there is two different words, Bhakti and Prapatti, right? So Bhaktudu or Prapannudu. Prapannudu means who has taken the approach of Prapannudu. So yeah, so actually there is one saying, I won't give you the entire meaning of it, but if you become Bhakta, uh, Paramatma becomes Prapanna. And if you become Prapanna, Paramatma becomes Bhakta, your Bhakta. So I won't go into the details of that, but that's a very interesting statement. If you become Prapanna, Paramatma becomes your Bhakta. So anyway, we'll come back to that. I mean, maybe we'll discuss later on in the next few sessions there when it comes there. Okay. So why is my mind blank? Right? Why is my mind blank? So there are so many whys and whats and who's right here. Right? So who am I? I am your Sishya. And what am I seeking? I am seeking your orders on what is good for me. And because my mind is blank with the confusion caused towards my dharma, what is the right or wrong, right? Dharma is nothing but right, yes, or at a very low level meaning. I mean, there is a deeper meaning, but at a very superficial level, dharma is what is right and what is wrong, right? But so I request you, because karpanya doshopahata swabhavaha. This is a very, very important word, karpanya, because I am struck by a dosha. Dosha means we all know, right? Dosha. I have a dosha means I have a deficiency. I have a fault. What kind of fault do I have? And dosha apahata swabhavaha. So I'm getting pounded by this dosha. I'm getting defeated by this dosham. What is the dosham? The dosham is karpanyam. Okay, so karpanyam is the dosham, because of which all these things happening, right? In a kind of a dominoes, they're falling. So Scarpanium struck me, so my mind became blank, and so tell me what is in my best interest, because I'm your Sishya, and your Prapanna. So that's the meaning at a very, very, very superficial level. If you don't go between the lines, that's the meaning of this sloka. But there is a very, very deeper meaning, which if we understand, then we understand why Sri Krishna Paramatma had to give 17 chapters. See, this is a very plain and simple question, right? Right then and there, Krishna Paramatma could have answered the final give. He could have given the final answer. Like it's like an objective question, yes or no. Drop down. There is one yes. There is one no. He could have chosen yes. Go ahead, and then right then and there, it's over. There is no need for this Kantashosha for Paramatma. For 3 to 4 hours might have been for in that battlefield. He spent so much of energy to drive Arjuna towards this decision. It's an informed decision. He came to conclusion. Even of course, what we will discover is at the end, Arjuna cries that okay, after listening to the entire Bhagavad Gita, there is when Arjuna says still he can't decide. Then he gives the final judgment. But he makes him go through this entire journey of these 17 chapters of Bhagavad Gita for the next 3 to 4 hours. Because he is Hrishikesha, he controlled the movements and every aspect of he froze the entire people, animals, even trees, everything was frozen there. So, and he gave them, so why, now we'll start dissecting what is happening here, right? So, why did Arjuna do a 180, complete 180, right? So I said, in the previous slokas, he was saying, I just, so you agree with me, right? Yeah, I shouldn't fight, right? So he was asking like this, right? But why did he do a 180 and started seeking guidance instead of giving his own judgment? Is because what our acharyas say is that we all have something called antahkaranam. Antahkaranam, what does antahkaranam, a Sanskritam word mean? Anybody? Antahkaranam. So, antahkaranam means inner voice. Okay. So we all have a inner voice in all of us, which tells what is right and what is wrong. Right? And there is a saying in Sanskritam, pramanam antahkarana pravruttayaha. So, which means knowledge comes through the functioning of modifications of inner instrument, which we can call mind or buddhi. Right? Buddhi tells the mind. Mind drags in different directions. I want this, I want that, based on the indriyas. Indriyas are sensory organs, right? So the sensory organs are pulling all of us in different directions, and mind just blindly goes behind those things. Buddhi is the inner voice which tells whether we are doing the right thing or wrong thing. I mean, we all have experienced this before. I mean, if we are at any point of time, we are doing something which we are not supposed to do, our inner voice comes and tells us, no, you are not supposed to do this. So then we all have gone through it, right? So the inner voice gives us the knowledge. So whatever it goes through the process, pramanam antahkarana pravruttayaha means the whatever changes are happening in the because of our antahkaranam, because of that the jnanam is emerging in all of us. That's what that sentence is. So it's our moral compass, right? it always advises whether what we are doing is good or bad, right? Sometimes we follow our advice, mind or the buddhi advice, and sometimes
Yes,
we do
yes.
not. And so, and particularly if it is, I mean, we all can attribute to it. I mean, nobody is exempt from this. If something is providing some bodily comfort or maybe good for our indriyas, we sometimes, most of the times, we reject. It takes a lot of discipline to reject the appeal of the sensory organs, and either in the form of bodily luxuries or a pleasures for the sensory organs, our tongue, our nose, our ears, our eyes, skin. So it's very hard to reject the luxuries. I mean, when particularly even though when they are bad for us. I mean, if they are okay for in some cases, yeah, if that's good for us, that's fine. But our when it is not good for us, our antahkarana, our inner voice, our moral compass comes out and says that this is not good. What you are doing is not good. So, and particularly in the case of tongue, I mean, so where we have our metrics are not good, still, even though if it is not healthier, I mean, if it tastes good, if it looks good, smells good, that's it. We think that it's good, and then we repent afterwards. Right? It happens to many people, not everybody, but I think, yeah, very few people are having that discipline. Right? So, while making the choices, our buddhi instructs whether it is good or bad, alerts, but whether we care for or not is the issue. So that's what our acharya says. So in I mean that the point is that our manas is a great tool given for human beings, and but for animals they are instinctual. The 99% of the animals, they don't have a manas or mind and buddhi. And they are instinctual. They do whatever they are supposed to do. They're like, most cases, if they are hungry, they just eat. That's it. If they are not hungry, they don't even eat, and they don't save for any future. They don't think of philosophy. They don't think. So, uh, to the extent that is allowed for them, only they do. And they have very limited flexibility in how they behave. So some animals like monkeys have slight exception because they store for something, like they store food in their mouth when even they are not eating. So, and then there are certain birds, they exhibit that trait of planning for with a building a nest. So a very beautiful, complicated nest. So there are some very few exceptions in nature, but mostly animals, they don't have this ability which humans have, which is the manas, the tool which we all have, manas and buddhi. So, um, and mind is the one which instructs. Basically, it is getting instruction from the buddhi. So all the indriyas, the five indriyas are at the bottom level. They are controlled by the mind, and then mind is controlled by the buddhi. Right? So the mind is giving instruction to these five indriyas. So we need to keep the mind strong. Only when the mind is strong, it kind of follows the guidance of the buddhi. If mind is weak, even the instruction comes from buddhi, it just ignores it and it goes after the indriyas. This is a very, very important concept which is there in which is described in our scriptures. If we understand this nature of this body, like indriyas, manas, and buddhi, at least that is the first step. Understanding this concept is the first step to going in a fight uh, with our own body, our own self, right? So so why all of this is important is that actually this inner voice, that is what triggered in Arjuna, our Acharya says. That why did Arjuna do 180? on this? The first question I asked is because Arjuna was saying this and that. So you understand, right? I should not be killing our elders and all these relatives. All so many things he was giving as if judgment. But finally, he came back and did a 180, and he asked Krishna Paramatma, what should I do, or instruct me what is in good, my best interest. It's because his inner voice is acting up, and and his buddhi is telling his mind that he needs to do his perform his duties. He needs to participate in this battle because that is his responsibility. So, and he understands there is change in the state of his mind. This is new to him. He never had this kind of a emotional outburst or
Breakdown.
breakdown. Yes, sir. Yeah, thank you. So a breakdown, he never happened. It never happened. He was supposed to be a brave soldier, and even just about 10, 15 minutes before this point, he was in the 23rd sloka of the first chapter. He just wanted to go and look at um, all the enemies of the on the other side, right? Who is on my side, opposite side, all those things. He was ready to fight. Pravrutte Shastra Sampate, he says he was ready to start the battle with his weapons. And from that, within 10 minutes, complete change of emotions, breakdown that happened in his mind. And he would pacify if anybody else had this kind of a pitiable condition. He would have pacified them. He would have guided them to get out of this kind of a condition. Now he is in that same pitiable condition, and he knows his mind is giving him that instruction, and he should not be like this. So that is the inner voice that is just like any of us. Arjuna is going through that. Right? So actually, if we take in the first chapter, Arjuna was with ego. He was ready to start fighting, and he had this complete ego, ahankaram, where with full ego, he was saying, or arrogance, he was saying, let's go and look at others. I mean, who I'm going to eliminate this in the battlefield. Uh, and so, it, and he surrenders to Krishna Paramatma now to fix this imbalance, right? And that is in his emotional state. Uh, And the same things which, I mean, as we discussed before, Dhritarashtra went to Sanjaya, he could not fix it. And Duryodhana went to Drona, Dronacharya didn't never even got a chance to fix him. It is Krishna, Paramatma is transforming Arjuna. Now it's going to start transforming him. And because Krishna has that ability, and which is because he's a Rishikesha, right? So he reached out to the capable master, and so in order to change his mind, I mean, or to bring him to this state, so he had to fluidify his mind, right? It's a dravibhutam, we say, right? Dravibhutam, meaning kind of liquefy or fluidify his heart. His heart is melted, feeling pity for the soldiers and the relatives and Bhishmacharya, Dronacharya. Uh, and so, and finally it went, so the Vishada, right? Visarana, Gati, Avasadana, three different states. So when it is a hard, like a lump of earth, and then that becomes brittle, and then it mixes with water in a paste, and it flows to some place and then settles down. Like that, Arjuna's heart has to be liquefied from the state of arrogance to the current state. And just like that water flows, or the dirt with water flows to a lake or some ocean. Arjuna's mind has reached Sri Krishna Paramatma's charana, meaning his feet, lotus feet of his acharya. In this case, is Krishna Paramatma he becomes his acharyas. So when we reach the acharya's lotus feet, then he understood his state. Uh, that's what he said. Like he reached there, and then he said, "Karpanya doshopahata svabhavaha pruchhami tvam dharma sammodha chetah yachreyasya nishchitam bruhitan me sisyasteham shadhimam tvam pravannam." So uh, now in this case, Krishna, when he expressed this emotion, Arjuna expressed this emotion to Krishna. Krishna is like a great artisan. Right? Artisan is somebody who is a perfect master of tools. Right?
Sculptor.
So, sir.
Sculptor.
So yeah, any kind of a profession which is handling the tools. Sculptor is one, or maybe carpenter. So anybody who has that skill in that tool, using the tools which can produce products, is an artisan. And Krishna Paramatma is a great artisan, and he not only creates the end product, but he creates his own tools or instruments which will help him come up with the end product. So, in this case, Arjuna, who is a very able person, is his instrument in this instance. The end product is Bhagavad Gita, but in order to produce the end product Bhagavad Gita, he needs a tool, and the tool is none other than Arjuna, our friend Arjuna. So um, so Krishna Paramatma is a great artisan, and not only the end product, but the tools he creates, right? Um, so he used Arjuna as an instrument, uh, and Arjuna and in order to get to this state, he has to experience this sorrow, and without going through the some the challenges of life. I mean, we all can attest to it, right? Also, only when we go through a challenge we acquire the skills and the ability to face something. So, and when the pain of going through the challenge and sometimes experiencing the sorrow, that makes us get ready for the task we'll have on hand. So, sorrow is one method or one tool which can be used to drive somebody towards a better state of mind, right? So, anybody who is like Arjuna, who is in a profession, I mean, Arjuna is in a profession of being a soldier, and all of us are in different professions. We have our own avenues of challenges. In his profession, he needs interest and willingness, and self-willing. If he participates something, then only he can be successful. And he needs to be generated. This interest needs to be generated. But in order to generate that interest in Arjuna, he has to come and fall on Krishna Paramatma's feet, and that's what he drove him. So Krishna Paramatma made him ask this question, or present himself as a student to Krishna Paramatma. So there is a saying in our scriptures, "Na prushtah kasyachit bruyat nachanyayena pruchhatah janannapi hi medhavi jadavat lokamacharet." So that saying means the first letter, na prushtah kasyachit bruyat, without asking, we should not give anybody advice. And if we can give, but it will fall on deaf ears. So if they are not even seeking advice, if we provide them that advice, then it's of probably no use. But if somebody asks for your advice, then definitely we are. So in some cases, uh, so if they are so there is a different meanings in this sloka. We don't have to go to that, but the first principle is that without asking, particularly it applies to acharyas. They they give advice or guidance only uh, when somebody seeks that advice. They come and they prove that they are in need of this kind of advice. At least in the olden days, that was the case, and that's probably and they used to test them before even giving that knowledge. So they have to prove themselves worthy of giving the knowledge. And so the so that is the principle by which Arjuna had to come and ask him, and that's the reason why Krishna Paramatma, even when he was in the battle, Mahabharata battle, he was about 90 years of age. Until 90 years, he waited. Nobody even asked him this question. Nobody came and said, Sishyasteham sadhimam tvam prapannam. I am your Sishya, I am your disciple. Nobody came and asked him. Even though 90 years, he has been showing so many miracles. He was showing, establishing himself as the universe, the Paramatma. Um, Everybody was coming and getting some benefits and going away. So nobody asked him that question. And Arjuna, so Krishna Paramatma went to the extent of making Arjuna ask him that question. So and this karpanya doshopahata swabhavaha. I am occupied by this deficit called karpanya. This karpanya, this state is called actually krupanata, meaning karpanyam and krupanata. Krupanata is the quality of having karpanyam. Right? It is a dosham, and nobody wants to be, or we should not be in such a state of krupanata. Krupanata means pitiable state, we can think of like, right? So, uh, karpanyam is expressing pity or sympathy on somebody, but krupanata is a pitiable state. And none of us would want to be in such a state. Nobody wants to be in a state where people would come and say, hey, poor guy, hey, pity, let's have pity on him, let's leave him in this state. It's that nobody wants to be in such a state, right? So we want to be in a position to guide others and help others. Now, we don't want to be in that dosham. Dosham, that's why it's a fault, because it is not a desirable state, krupanata. So, um, so my mind is filled with karpanya dosha, and so dharma sammudha chetaha, my mind is becoming very obfuscated. Mudha means not visible, and chetas is manas. About dharma, it went into the depths of darkness. My mind about the dharma, it went into the depths of darkness. Um, so naturally, he was mentally something. He was strong sometime back, but he was like somebody given a truth serum or hypnotized, right? So as if you drug somebody or hypnotize to tell you what they want, they know. Um, so that's the state we come into, right? It's like a state of some people just taste some overdose and some overwhelmingly fully intoxicated, right? So they talk philosophy. So when they go into that state of intoxication. And the karpanyam, shokam, and krodham. So our Acharya says these three things, karpanyam, shokam, krodham. These three equally have the ability of driving a person into this intoxicated state where they lose their natural abilities and they start behaving something else as something else. Does it make sense? Like when we are intoxicated or drugged or maybe given some kind of a serum, we behave as if we are not ourselves. Eh? And the same thing happens not only with the drugs, physical, chemical drugs that are given to us, but through these three emotional states, karpanyam is one, and then shokam is another, and then krodham. The shokam means sorrow, and krodham means anger. These three things they have the same ability. So, um, there is a saying, क्रुद्धः पापं न कुर्यात् कः क्रुद्धो हन्यात् गुरूनपि क्रुद्धः परुषया वाचा नरः साधून् अधिक्षेपेत्. So the person who has experienced krodham or extreme krodham, even he goes to the extent of harming his own guru and with Parusha Vakyas, Parusha Vacha, meaning the harsh words. And the sadhu adhikshipet, meaning even very soft and good people, they hurt them with their harsh words. Krodham, so what are the three things? Krodham, Shokam, and Karpanyam. These three have the ability to bring somebody to, let me close this thing out once again. So these three have the ability to take somebody into that intoxicated state. So when so they can go to the extent of hurting or harming the loved ones, gurus, or even father, or even parents, or friends, also close friends. So in this case, Arjuna is consumed by one of those three, which is the karpanyam. Because of this karpanya dosha, is going through the dharma sammoda chetaha. So towards dharma, his mind is blank. So what is it making him? His duty is to fight, but he doesn't want to do it. On the other hand, he knows begging is wrong. Begging alms is wrong. But he said in the previous sloka, and bhaiksham apiha loke. So better than fighting is better to go to start begging, bhiksham. Right? So it is because he is going into the dharma sammoda chetaha state, his mind is blank. So he's thinking begging is right and performing his duties is wrong. Complete. That's the intoxicated state I was talking. When we go into the intoxicated state, we completely behave opposite of what we do in a regular state of mind. eh? So that's why people say intoxication is not good. Um, so the person, if person is wrong without seeing relation, needs to be punished. So that's why pruchhami tvam. So he's saying, please tell me. Now, when we surrender to capable people like Krishna, Paramatma, and get knowledge, it is good to make such decision. Actually, there is one sloka in Katha Upanishad, which says, Naisha tarkena matirapaneya proktanyenaiva sujnanaya prestha yantvamapaha satyadbhru tirthasami twadrugno Bhuyan Chiketa Prakta. Meaning, knowledge of the self cannot be attained through reasoning alone. It must be taught by a realized teacher. So, where Yamadharmaraja is teaching Nachiketa that we cannot just by ourselves do our own debate and then get the knowledge, but you can get knowledge only through a learned guru. And so, hey Nachiketa, you are Satyanistha, meaning you are somebody who has the nishtha towards the Satyam and you have Dhrida Sankalpam. So we want a student like you. So he says. So um, and so that's the reason. So this sets up the background um, uh, for Krishna Paramatma to give the entire Bhagavad Gita. So this is a very, very interesting sloka. I mean, we will understand the true meaning of this Karpanya and Shreyas, and through that we will understand actually the intent of Bhagavad Gita. So that's why this is very important to spend some time on this sloka. We will delve deeper into it. It's going to be a very interesting journey in this sloka itself, actually. So in next probably we'll continue. I have to join another call. But yeah, we will continue this journey of understanding, breaking down and slicing, dicing this sloka. We'll conclude in the next couple of sessions. Jai Srimanarayan.
Yes, man.
Any comments or anything to discuss on this, on what we discussed today? All right. So I think then we'll wrap up with the ending prayer. So Om Agnenaya Supataraye Asman Vishwani Deva Vayunani Vidvan Yuyodyasmat Juhuranamenaha Bhuishtante Nama Uktim Vidhema Om Purnamidam Purnamadaha Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavasishyate Om Om Namah Paramarushibhyo Namah Paramarushibhyaha Om Namah Paramarushibhyo Namah Paramarushibhyaha Om Asmad Gurubhyo Namaha. Jai Srimanarayan.
Yes, man.
Thank
Jai
you.
Srimanarayan.
Jai Srimanarayan.